Hey y'all, welcome back to Ray of All Trades. We are going to work on a bad boy Maverick. Really nice condition mower. I don't know how old it is. Had a small problem. Had a fire. Kawasaki motor, I think it was the 7 something. I'll have to look at it. But I did a little bit of research. This thing's been sitting in my yard for, I don't know, a couple months now. Pretty sure that this grass that got stuck up in there probably was the culprit. But most of the motor, I mean, the flames all came up, right? Which heat normally does. But I think most of the motor might be okay. I think I might just need to deal with all these carcinogens, get all that out of there. Maybe the flywheel. But, I mean, you can see she got a little bit on the toasty side. Some of the wires are burnt. But the rest of the machine, really good condition. Kind of funny, the man driving this thing said he was cutting and all of a sudden he felt a little bit warm on the back of his neck, and you can see how high those flames were licking. That got up there, didn't it? I'm glad he was thinking fast and he got the fire put out before too much damage occurred. But let's see, 474 hours. I mean, the thing's in really good condition. 54-inch deck, really solid. We might be in luck on this one, and I'll show you why here in just a second. So this motor was the 726cc Maverick. I'm pretty sure that was the model number of the Kawasaki motor that's on this thing. But I really lucked out because my father-in-law donated to me a motor that he changed out, and it basically had spun a rod, right? So the crankshaft, you can see the aluminum transfer on there. Well, that came from the connecting rod. So it got low on oil. Pretty quickly shut it down, but at that point he said, hey, I want a new motor. But when I looked at these, the 691 happens to be almost the identical motor to the 726. So I've got an entire parts machine here, unless the connecting rods or the crankshaft are bad. I've got an entire replacement motor here. So I think we're going to start disassembling this motor, just try to keep track of where everything went, see if I can get the heads, get this melted plastic off of here, get these heads and everything cleaned up, and get down to the motor, see if the motor cranks over, see what it does, see what it sounds like. We might be in business. We might be able to put this thing back together. Start cleaning up, wear gloves obviously, because I mean, it is melted plastic. I think all the smoke is done as far as getting in your lungs, but this stuff can't be good for you. And then we'll get the rest of this debris and stuff cleaned up out of here and see if we can make a runner out of this. This is a really nice machine. So he said it cut like a dream, obviously before the temperature got a little bit on the high side. Anyway, let's see if we can get some of these pieces off of this thing. Let's get the battery off of it first. Now we're also going to pinch off this fuel line on the off chance that some's still in it. And then I'm just going to start dumping stuff onto the ground, get it cleaned up. Air filter off of here. Think I can reuse that one. Kawasaki, assembled in USA. I want to speed this operation up. Now, that didn't even hurt the oil dipstick. Well, might as well take this one out. Isn't there one right over here too? See, that used to be a spark plug wire. I wonder if I can get the coils off of there. And the starter's in rough shape too. All right, what is this? Looks like there used to be a... Is that a hose? Yeah, it's a vacuum hose of some kind. We'll leave that till the very end. And a fuel line. All right, that's a breather of some kind. This is actually really cool. I know everybody's got different definitions of what's cool, but for me it's like a game. Let's see. I know I can heat it back up and start reshaping it, but I'm going to, at that point, start reintroducing the flames or the bad smells and stuff. This might have been related to the culprit. I bet you a mouse moved in. And it's already getting better. Looks like the kill wire to the coil came down on this side over here. Is that voltage regulator? Stator wires are burnt. Pretty sure he tried to contact the insurance company on this, and they, homeowners insurance, because it sure looked like a mouse moved in. And for whatever reason, they denied it. And I'm actually pretty disappointed in that, because I don't believe it's any fault of his. But I mean, they didn't even come out and look at it and denied it. Let's see, what is this? What is that, a hydraulic hose, or is that a... Yep, that's a hydraulic hose. Yeah, that's going right down to the hydraulic pump. So this coil wire on this side was actually okay. I mean, it's not okay, but I mean, it didn't melt like the other one. This right here will be the hour meter lead. I'll take it off for now. Maybe if I can get this coil off of here, it'll take some of this with it. It sure smells like rain. Feels like rain. I hope it does. Okay, she's starting to move. What is that? Is that just melted plastic? There we go. What's occurring in here? I want to be careful what I'm hitting when I get down into this area because I obviously don't want to hurt the block. Although I have a whole new one, obviously, but I mean, that's what the pieces are looking like. That's all plastic too. Let's see, how far does that go? Let me get a better pry bar and see if I can pry up on that. Not crazy about doing that though, because what I'd be prying against would be that aluminum valve cover. There we go. Get that piece off. That's the bolt that held down the air filter. That's what that is. I can't believe y'all just missed that. All right. So it timed out because I was taking too long. Anyway, this piece that was jammed in there, I finally got it pried out. So anyway, let's go ahead and get that flywheel off of there. Maybe we'll have some better luck accessing some stuff. What do y'all think? You think the impact, the 3/8 impact will take it out? I'm gonna try. Nothing to it. All right. All right, I think I need a puller. Or can we just whack it out of there? Just little bitty hammer. All right, let's try a bigger hammer. I think I should probably knock this loose first. I think that's holding me back. She ain't wanting to come out of there. All right, let me see what I got in the way of pullers. Since I've already boogered up one of the bolt heads. I got lucky there. So I'll put the puller in here, use those same bolts again. Something like that. Unless I can get my big puller on here and just give her hell. Y'all hold on, I'm gonna get something together. All right, so found a puller we're gonna try. Shoot, she's coming right off. Kinda. There we go. And because I was welling away on it, most likely, is why all these magnets have come off of here. Just a guess. But, so this stator was coming off anyway, because that's where these wires that burnt, that's where they go to. So the stator was coming off no matter what. And tell you what, we're also going to pull off that starter while we're here too. So the ground from the voltage regulator went to the starter bolt. Let's see. And there's my starter. I need to work on getting this intake cleaned off of here. This is the solenoid for the carburetor. I think there used to be a, you see how you got the hydro reserve here? I think there used to be one for right over there. Pretty sure that's what that was. I'm going to scrape away on this for a little while. Try to get the rest of this cleaned up because I want to power wash it. And obviously I want to vacuum everything first and then I want to power wash it. So if I find something out of the ordinary other than just taking small picks and trying to get all these loose pieces out of here, I'll bring you back. But as of right now, it's literally just taking my time and getting all the small chunks out of there. So I'll bring you back as soon as I have something. Still working on it. Just wanted to give you an update of where I'm at. She's starting to get a little bit nicer. Keep going. So it might look the same to you guys, but believe it or not, that's a couple hours worth of digging and getting through every single one of the cooling fins, chiseling out up in here, using a pick, small screwdrivers, whatever I could find, pulling off the rest of that plastic shroud, screws, all that other stuff. Basically, I'm to the point where I've already covered the carburetor and put a plug in the intake. I'm going to get out the power washer and get all that cleaned up. But I'm getting ready to get a pretty bad thunderstorm through here, so it may not be today. So anyway, I'll pick back up as soon as we have something that we can work with. Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm going to have to start off by saying please forgive the background noise. It's 90 degrees today, 60% humidity, and it's just getting started. So I'm running my mini split. I'm running the wall air conditioner unit. I'm also running a Zero Breeze little cooler. I have it because the batteries on it died. Because the battery packs are so expensive, I'm modifying it. Going to be a pretty cool video coming up, I hope. And I'll put that together. Hopefully y'all stay tuned and look for it. It's a Zero Breeze, and I'm making an external battery pack without having to spend the $600 per, one that fits it. We're in the garage, back on this bad boy zero turn that went into a thermal runaway condition. Got a lot of debris out of the cooling fins here. I plugged up the carburetor before I started. I plugged up this vent line coming up to the carburetor. When I was power washing, the oil filler actually came out, so I'm positive I got water in there. I was going to drain the oil anyway, but I don't want to crank it until I've done that. I did put the flywheel on it and turn this, so the motor does turn fairly well. I pulled out the plugs to do so, just spun it by hand, and it was nice and smooth. So I do want to get this surface rust off of here before we get too far. All right, I supposedly have a new set of seals. I think I only need to change the top one. That looks pretty close. All right. It's identical. We're going to try to put this in without using a socket. I'm going to try that first anyway. It's pretty close. Yep, that'll do. The next thing on my agenda is the stator. It came off the other motor. Alright, something like that. Go ahead and put the stator wire hold down on here, and then I'm going to put some blue Loctite on those screws. I think we're going to go ahead and put the starter on next. I'm just saying, I mean, logically, yeah, the flywheel and everything goes next, and I'm just trying to make it easy on myself. So let's take the old starter out. Get it loose for a second. Actually, wait, I think I need the ground wire to attach there. Well, those air conditioners feel nice. All right, let's tighten up the starter bolt, starter wire, I guess I should say. That one right there. Right there. I want to say this goes next. Got a new one of these. Well, I got a less burnt one of these. Let's throw a business card in there. It's lined up with the magnet. Should be a pretty close gap. And that is not the bolt for that. Let me find the right size bolt, and I'll be right back with you guys. Well, I had to cut a bolt down, but I think that should work. Oh, there we go. Yep, threads in well. I must have thrown away the bolts that came with the coil on the other. At least one of them. See, I'll know when I'm editing if I threw away the bolts that came with the original coil. And I probably did, thinking that I had these, you know, these bolts sitting around, and I must have lost one somewhere along the way. This motor has been in pieces now for about a year or so. Well, this would have been easier before I started messing with the plastic, but this blob that's sitting on the side of the motor right here, that's a piece of plastic with a bolt melted in the middle of it. Let's see if I can get that out of there. The plastic came right out. I think we can start putting the shroud back on. Let's see, there was one up here. I'm going to leave these top ones loose for just a minute because I think that they probably pinch the top shroud. But the bottom one should go with no problem, huh? See, we've got some wires coming through here. So green wire is the carburetor. fuel solenoid, so that needs power once it's running. Looks like the black wire coming up through here is the magneto wire, and that one needs to be grounded when the key is turned off. So it's going to come from the ignition switch. I'm missing a wire from the regulator, which usually is a hot wire, because it takes the battery hot wire and feeds it into the regulator, and that's what excites the stator to charge this regulator, and then it sends that same 12 volts from here back out to the battery, charges your battery. One of the reasons I'm telling you guys this is so that I remember. Let's see, that probably wraps up something like that, and something like that, huh? Alright, what are y'all thinking? I think I'm going to change the carburetor. This throttle shaft right here, it still works, but you can see it's all bubbled up and everything. I'm anticipating it probably had some negative effects on it. And then this gasket right here probably got pretty toasty. I don't know that I trust it either. I think we just want to change out this entire intake. My gaskets are no good, but I can make gaskets. Let's pull out this entire intake, make gaskets if we have to. Okay, 4 for the intake. Looks like 1 holds the bracket. I'm going to call it throttle and governor bracket because I don't know what else to call it. Throttle, choke, and governor bracket. At least I think the governor ties to that. Alright. This machine's a little bit heavy for my lift. Truthfully, I don't even know if I'd have got it on the lift anyway, because I've got so much junk laying around right now. Let's just throw that to the side for right now. But I got to tell you, sitting down here is hard on the knees. Looking back, I should have pulled all this off originally. I didn't know how long I was going to be without the mower, and I was trying to protect the internals from water. All right, y'all, this is going to take a minute. Let me finish scraping these off and either go look for or make some gaskets. So that's going to take me a minute. I'll be right back. All right, made a couple gaskets. They're not finished yet, so I just wanted to show you how I do it. Not dropping the screw, that wasn't part of it. So I just take a couple of bolts and I hold everything in place. Then if I need to do any kind of last second trimming, I can trim it against that surface. And all that material just comes right out. It's just a better fit. Just flip this over, get all that out of there. The governor rod had a bend to it. Came from the outside, and it looks like it's in the middle hole for this one. So let's pull that one out. Pull out the spring. The spring is in the third hole. And then those two will come up to the top when needed. This hose line right here, let's push it back because it goes right here. 100%, if this was If I didn't have a donor motor, this repair would have been cost prohibitive, at least with OEM parts, definitely. Let's get that on there. Let's get closer in here. That wasn't easy because of two angles coming in together. It made it kind of tough to mash them. You had to have them fully seated in order to get the bolt started. Which, as you know, I was trying to put gaskets in there, and the gaskets kept falling. So obviously, that's where my problem was. I'll get too overzealous. These are steel bolts going into an aluminum head. I'm just trying to be very cautious. Did you guys see where that last bolt went? Not me either. All right, let me look for it. I'm not sure what happened to that one bolt. I found a different one. It's probably sitting right here, and I just can't see it. I'm hoping you guys are yelling at me saying, hey, there it is. Governor linkage. And then the spring that just fell again. And then connects up to the back side of that same clip I just was messing with. Got that one. I had to disconnect the ground wire from the carburetor right here. So let's get that put back on. Let's see, you should go down through there. I'm stabbing that green and black wire right to the bottom of the carburetor shutoff solenoid, which you guys probably can't see. And then the ground wire just goes up here. Okay, let's tighten this one up. The hose while I can still get to it. And this spring right here, I think it's throttle return. Let's see if I can do this where we both can see. That spring hooks on top of that that melted black piece for the carburetor. So I believe that's throttle return, if I had to guess. Just sets right on top of there. So I got this large spring right here. Actually, is attached to the throttle. So I'm going to guess it probably goes right down here to this governor arm. Because it sure looks like it fits right there. So right here, going down to that governor arm. So I'm moving the governor right now, and you can see it's having an impact on the throttle. So top one, this one here is controlling the choke plate. Okay. Let's run it through there. Put the choke all the way on. And then I'm going to adjust this so that it's connected. So let's pull the choke up. Hopefully that moved. All right. Actually, yeah, it looks like it already adjusted itself. So I would have just moved the cable to make it fit so that this choke plate is all the way closed. And then when the choke's off, I want to make sure that this is sitting all the way open. Yep, went full deflection all the way to there. Let's do our throttle next. Into there. Something like that, y'all think? Let's see. Right now, I'm at minimum throttle. Let me move the throttle all the way open. All right, so throttle's all the way up. Something like that. I don't know. This will get us in the ballpark. Let's see. Tight, 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 tight. Hose is on. Throttle and governor and everything else is all hooked up. I think I want to get this plastic bolt in before I get too far. And I would venture to say that that one probably needs to be tight also. And I might have messed up because this goes on here and it goes behind that bolt right there that I just put in. Let's see if we can sneak it around. Yeah, it goes right inside there, and which is on the back side of this thing. Usually in Virginia, when we get those hot, humid days like that, we usually expect to see a thunderstorm. So I keep looking outside just to see if there's one rolling in. Plastic screw here, probably not tightened. One down here. And that one is tightened. Yep, there's one right back here. And then one right up here. This one's going to be loose. One coil wire goes right through there. The other one comes right through here. Let's see, I have a fuel line and fuel pump that needs to go on. So there's a vacuum hose here somewhere. Ah, there it is. Over here on this side of the motor. All right, so this fuel line I can put on now. And while we're here, let's go ahead and put 2 plugs in it. If I don't have new plugs, I'm just going to throw in the ones from the donor motor for now. I mean, I still don't know if hydros work. I don't know if anything. Let's see, BPR 4 ESs, and these look fairly new. That donor motor did not have a lot of hours on it. It literally was a result of a defective oil filter. And it crossed my mind to grab that oil filter and send it into the manufacturer. I don't know what brand it was. I'm just going to say that so nobody comes attacking me. But the oil filter seam came loose. Oil filter came apart and locked up the motor really quick. And I want to say it was like the 3rd oil change or something. Yeah, it's one of those that you go through the litigation and trying to find, you know, to prove that the filter was defective, and then was it the store that dropped it, and then was it the, you know what I mean? It's They make it so difficult to try to get help for these things. Coils are done, that's all done. Let's put the cover on it. Y'all, I made a mistake that I'm going to edit out of the video, but I still want to call myself out on it. The vacuum pulse line that comes from the motor is down here. I had already put the cover on and was telling all kinds of stories and had to take the whole thing back off again. So, because the only way to get to this line is going to be through here to get that hose and clamp off of there. And I'm only editing it out in the essence of time because this is going to be a long video. I think if I take that bolt out, I might actually be able to reach it now. Give me a little bit of space. All right, so that's the spring clamp. Clamp. Man. That rubber hose got pretty doggone brittle. All right, let's get a small section of hose and put that back together. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm talking about. There's that that rusted nub that's sticking out right here, right about there. Hopefully y'all see that. That little rusted nub is your pulse to drive the fuel pump. And without that, you're not going to have anything. And it's literally crankcase pressure and vacuum. Okay. All right, so we're going to leave that alone for right now because when we put the cover on, we need to attach the fuel pump to that, and I want to see where it bolts to get the right size, get the right length. Now let's get the cover put back on. Address some of this stuff while I'm here. This motor is actually a FR 730, I guess. But now, anybody that looks at it's going to think it's a 691. I wonder if I can get the stickers for that. I mean, honestly, it's the same parts. All right, let me get all the screws put back in. Mount the fuel pump. Just gonna mount it loosely for right now, in case I need to remove it for that hose that we just added. Okay, let's see. So this hose needs to be that long. Well, dusty, huh? All right, I don't want to cover it up just yet because there's a vacuum hose right here, or a barb for a vacuum right there. And I don't know if it was a cap or if it connected back to something. I might have to do some lookup on that. Make sure that's not rubbing anywhere. I think we'll go ahead and put fuel line on. See what we can roll with here. A filter. I'm kind of wondering if this vacuum line that's in my hand, there was two lines here. One was a fuel line, but there's a vacuum line here. I'm kind of wondering if that's what goes there. But let's see. Let's cut this back about here. That on there. Let's cut this one back. We're going to steal that clamp too. So a new fuel filter, fuel lines hooked back up, fuel pumps hooked back up. Still don't have my wires hooked up to the ignition switch yet. We got to do that. And like I said, I think that this hose, where does it go to? It goes all the way up to this purge canister way up here. So yeah, that hose is supposed to hook up to this emissions right here. Let me see what kind of hose I have and see if I can make something work. I'll be right back. All right, I found some vacuum hose. Attached it here, wrapped it around by the fuel line, keeping it up out of the way. And then I teed into the old vacuum hose right up here and put a clamp on that. And we've got some wiring to do. And then we've also got, we want to change that oil. Get that old oil out of there that might have water in it. So I think we're going to get that changed. And while that's draining, we'll take a peek and see if we can figure out some of the wiring. I mean, we know that we need a start signal to the solenoid, which I think that's already taken care of. So from the key switch, I need one that's going to kill the magnetos. So that's going to be the M on the key switch. And then I also need one that's going to be hot all the time. And that one that's hot all the time, whenever the key's on, is going to be also tied to the regulator. See if we can find those off of this original plug that teed into the motor originally. So we should be able to find them and then just connect them together. So let's get that oil changed. All right, so this right here is the oil drain. I hooked up a 1/2-inch hose running down through this hole down into a bucket. And then there is a 10mm bolt right here. That's the drain. And so below that hole is my oil pan. So let's see if we can get that cracked loose and get it to start draining. Don't bring it out too far. Looks like I'm draining right now. Oh, not yet. Oh, there it is. Just starting to drain. So I'm going to loosen it up just a little bit more and get it to drain a little bit better. I noticed that there wasn't any water in there, which is a good thing. And we're just going to let that drain for, well, a long time. So, because it's coming out super slow. So I was able to back that that bolt or that drain cock out all the way until it actually came out. Not a good thing. So I put that back in. It's only in by like one thread. So I'll bring you back as soon as that's done. All right, so I've already drained enough. I got the oil filter off. Forgot to hit the record button, but it's just an oil filter. And the oil's still draining, so that's going to be a while. Let's see if we can start figuring out some of this wiring. All right, since the battery's dead, we're going to use a test light. I've got a jump pack on the frame of the motor itself. And then I've got the other side of the jump pack is just going to the red wire that normally would be going to the battery. So if this all works, I should get a light right here. So I've got hot all the time right now. Okay. And let's see. Right now, I've got nothing there. I would anticipate if I bump the motor, this will crank the motor just for a second. Let's see. Yeah. So my solenoid is already wired. All that's good to go. I already have a good ground to the motor. And what I need is a hot lead that only exists when the key is in the on position and then it goes away. So let's turn it to the run position, not the crank position, the run position. And hopefully one of these is hot right now. All right, so that one's hot right now. Middle one's not, and the other side is hot. So let's turn the key off and see if those two go away. Okay, so that one's off. That one does not have hot. That one does not have hot. And this one does not have hot. So I've got two hots. One of them could go directly to the voltage regulator, and the other one can go to the wire, I think it was a green wire, right, that went to the carburetor. And that'll energize those two. Now, the one in the middle, because I still need a kill wire for the magneto. What you can do, and this is how I'm going to try to find out. So, right now, we all agree in the off position, there's no voltage on the center pin. I believe that the center pin is my magneto, so there's no voltage there, right? So, on a test light, if I touch it to hot, I get a light. You agree? So, if I take my negative of my test lead and I plug that into my hot lead and I touch the ground, so as you can see, the negative of my test light is on the positive cable, and I'm touching ground and I get a signal, right? So what I'm looking for is a ground. So anything I touch that would be ground, this light should light up. I need a ground to kill my magneto, and I believe, yep, so right there, the light's lit up in the center pin. If that goes away when I turn the key to the run position, that's my kill switch, and it does. Put it back, and it kills the magneto, kills the spark. So the center conductor is the one that needs to go to my magneto kill wire. The other two are hot leads, and they're both the same. They both are hot when the power is on. So one can go to my voltage regulator, and the other one can go to my carburetor. Let's just cut these. It's a 6-pin connector, but there's only 3 wires. Let's just cut these. So the black wire is my ground. The other 2 are my hot. That's pretty much all there is to it. Let me get those cut off and reattach to those wires there, and we should be good for wiring. All right. stopped draining mostly. It looks like I took out about 1.5 quarts of sludge, something like that. I don't know. I don't know about sludge. It was kind of thick. It says to put in 2.1 to 2.2 quarts. I put in 2.1 quarts, and I'm slightly above the full mark. So I haven't started it yet. We're going to let it sit like that at idle and make sure that she runs, does what she's supposed to do, and sounds okay. I'm going to get all this cleaned out of here. Get that pig mat working. So I got the wiring taken care of. I had to extend one of the wires, the one up to the voltage regulator. The other two, I had the bayonet connectors, and I just, redid those and have the stab connectors on there. And if we happen to start it, we've got oil in it. It might be too much, but the battery's on charge. So you notice that there's a hydro reserve over here, reservoir. Well, on this side, that's what this was. Looks like a hold down, but basically this is the hydro reserve that's missing. And then the hose for it is down here. Let's get this off of here. I ordered a brand new hydraulic hose and a brand new hydraulic reservoir. So that should line up. Yeah, it looks like it lines up. So we're gonna hook this up, run a new hose down to the pump, and before we start this machine up, we're gonna make sure that there's fluid inside those hydro pumps. I just don't want them running empty, or with dirt inside them. So I've already ordered the filters for it, and we're gonna go ahead and change out the filters and the fluid for the hydro pumps, because I don't know, with the hose being burnt, I don't know, was it sealed? I don't know the condition of it. So let's just get it cleaned up. I have the hydro release valves pulled, but with the belt still attached, I think I'm gonna, run into a problem. All right, the pumps will be moving once the motor starts spinning. This machine only has 400 hours on it. And we have a brand new hydraulic hose. And hopefully that's the right size. It's looking a little bit on the big side. No, it's right for the tank. Okay. This hose right here. Oh, there's my clamp. Let me put a bucket under there just in case it starts leaking. Part of me hopes it does, which would mean that the fluid was still in there. Okay. Well, no joy on that part. But we're going to steal this clamp and clean it up. Let's see if this fits that barb okay. I don't think it's right. Nope, she's super loose. So it's the right size for the tank, wrong size for the fitting there. So I need a 1/2 inch on this. That is maybe 3/8 on that. Let me grab some 3/8 fuel line and see what the pressure rating is on it, and then see if it fits. So some good news. It is a 3/8. I do have some 3/8 fuel line. I did a little bit of research. It says that you can use fuel line for hydraulic line when there's no pressure, right? And this literally wouldn't be any pressure. This is just for fluid level. So if there was any pressure, this cap would blow off, right? So just before my battery died, I was telling you I didn't really care that, because there's no pressure on this line, right? All it's doing is holding a reserve of oil. I was able to take the 3/8 line, stick a pair of needle nose inside there, expand it out enough that it actually fit over the top of here, and then I shoved a clamp on it. Let's get this mounted so we can get an accurate measurement. Because you don't want kinks in this line, obviously. And this line needs to be about that long. Okay, get that hooked up. Now it's time to do some research on how to do the service on these hydros, and then fill them back up with 20W50 is what it said. Let me do a little bit of research, get underneath there, and see if I can get those filters off. All right, this is what I think I figured out. Pull off the 3 bolts that cover the filter. And there's an 11/16 fill hole. Drain plug. Well, not drain plug, but fill plug. Oh, see, it's coming out of there. What I wanted to show you was the necessity to change this. So you see how dark that fluid is right there? Look at the new one. Look how clear the fluid is. Okay. So I thought I was going to be able to fill it using the tank on top, and you cannot. I'm going to leave that plug in for just a second. What I did on the other side, I was looking for a drain plug. I never found a drain plug. All I found was the filter, and I took the filter loose, and all the fluid came out. The filter seems to be at the bottom of the hydro pump, and the filter gave the opportunity to drain the entire thing. And I was able to verify that by adding some fluid to the reservoir at the top, and the fluid came out. So I'll try to catch as much of this as I can. I also know that I don't have enough oil to go back in, because I want to say that side took probably close to 2 quarts, maybe more. I can see that coming out of there. All right, now I'll pull this out, let it breathe some. We're going to let that drain for a minute. I want to show you what the tank looks like on top. You can see the tank drained. I mean, it's still dirty, but the tank drained. I'm going to take a rag and clean some of that out of there. All right, I'm going to let this finish draining. I'm going to wipe out that tank, and I'll be back in a minute. And then I just lubricated the gasket and spin on a new filter. Put the cover back on. I don't know if it helped, but I did raise up the front of the mower just a little bit. try to get the hydro to be the lowest spot, you know, the filter. We're just going to refill it. All right, this is how I refilled it. Just add my oil to a jar so I can see what's going on. I had to do that several times. Then I used a lower unit pump. This is what you use to fill up lower units on bass, or excuse me, on outdrives for boats. So you can find this stuff in Walmart and any marine place. It's designed to push fluid in an upward manner. And I've used this actually quite a bit for different things, so it's paid for itself. But then now if you put this in a quart bottle or something like that, it would actually work better. I just wanted to be able to see it. And you just keep pumping until the fluid comes out of that hole. So it's going to take me a long time. And I just do this until it runs out of here, and then once it runs out, I fill it up again and keep going. So I'll bring you guys back. I'm probably going to have to go get some more fluid because I'm pretty sure I pulled about 3 to 4 quarts out of each one, and I only had 5 quarts. So I might not have enough to be able to get this all done. So I'll be back most likely tomorrow once I go pick up some more oil and finish filling it up. And then once it comes out of there, I put the plug in, and then I went up top and I filled up the reservoir to the cold fill line, and we'll start with that. See you guys tomorrow. All right, y'all, got it topped off with 2050. Hopefully that's correct. Both reserves are just over the full cold line. I'm hoping that as it burps, it's probably going to take some fluid out of it. I've already put 5 gallons of gas in this thing. Actually 4 gallons, I think, is roughly what it held before it went to full, because it was slam empty. I've also cleaned the battery connector, tightened it up, so she's ready to go. The exhaust on this one faces backwards. I'm going to leave the door down because it's another stifling one outside. I'm going to leave the door down. If it fires up, I'll hurry up and open up the door. And let's see what it does. I still have the hydros disconnected. I anticipate that it's probably good for it if they're disconnected. It takes the load off of them right away. I believe that's the case. I don't know much about hydros, so I believe that's the case. I think we're ready to give this thing a try. Let me back you guys up so you don't get smoked out. I'm not sure what we're going to find here. All right, brake is on. Choke is on. I'm going to give it half throttle in hopes that it has enough to start. And then I also don't want it to start wide open, so if it'll run. Let's see what it does. The fuel line is completely empty, so it's going to take a few cranks to get it to pump. But I'm going to be watching the fuel filter, see if it fills up. I heard the solenoid click. Yeah, fuel pump's working. I've already filled up the fuel filter. Let's see what else we got. Oh, she sounds good. She sounds real good. She's charging. She's putting out about 14 volts. A little bit of smoke coming off the bottom right there, but I think it's because of the, it's not coming out of the tailpipe. So I think it's actually the plastic that you just saw melt off of there and fall off. Whoo, look at the smoke. All right, yeah, that, I don't know if y'all see it. There's a lot of smoke coming off of this thing. All right, don't want to breathe that in. I'm pretty sure that that's the plastic burning off. You see that? All right, what I wanted to do is check the oil, because like I said, we saw that it was slightly over full. Looks like, yeah, both hydro reservoirs are still right about where I left them. And the oil is literally just a tickle above the full mark. And slightly discolored, which tells me that I didn't get all the old oil out of it. So that would explain it being a little bit over full. Let me engage those two hydro pumps. That one's engaged. I think the arm's slightly bent here. Just for the record, that could have been me when I was moving it in here. Let's see if this bad boy Maverick wants to live another day. Got some adjustment thing going on here. All right, y'all, she ran for a while, revved up. Let's see if we can make these blades go. I haven't fixed the creep on the front wheel, so when I start it up, you're gonna see it try to move forward. Let's see if the blades work before we start even adjusting anything else, and see how much more work I have to do on this thing. Man, it's hot out here. What do y'all think? I think we got a winner. I was playing with the deck height. That's the last thing I was doing. There's a button right here. It's a motorized deck height, and then there's a gauge to tell you how high you're cutting, and it was moving back and forth with that. That was pretty cool. I think we're going to call this one a win for this video. We got her back from the dead, back from a total loss mower. She's running pretty good. Need to get the sticker changed on that thing, make the motor match the sticker on the side, because realistically it still is a FR 730, FX 730 I think. I have to go back and look. So anyway, that's the total motor. All I did was change the top end of it. So the piston, bore, stroke, all that's still the exact same. We'll do another video adjusting that drive, and I hope you guys got something out of this video. I really appreciate you hanging out. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.